Hello guys, welcome back to our Bioholic channel. I am your educator Orpita Bishwas and today I will discuss about the 3B part of the digestive system, which is the second part of physiological activities in stomach. In the previous video, I have already discussed about the functional anatomy and physiology of gastric secretion, and today I will discuss about the physiology of gastric motility and functions of stomach and the applied aspects. So let's start. Let us discuss about the physiology of gastric motility first. It acts as an functional syncytium. The gastric motility is the function of gastric musculature, which consists of 3-layer stomach muscle fibers, and it acts as an functional syncytium. So it is a single unit. It happens through two regions. The oral of the stomach includes the fundus and the proximal body, and the caudal region of stomach that includes the antrum and the distal part of body of stomach. The main function of this motility is the storage of food, the mixing of food with gastric juice to form a semi-solid paste which is called as chyme, and slow emptying of food into the small intestine. So, how this gastric motility is initiated? At first, acetylcholine, gastrin, histamine, potassium, these factors causes flow of sodium and calcium into the cell, and this causes an upstroke in the motility and activation of the stomach musculature. This activity is known as the basic electrical rhythm or BER. It is an wave of depolarization. 3 to 4 waves happens per minute. Now, the types of gastric motility. These are of two types: the motility of empty stomach and the gastric motility related to male. So, let us discuss about the motility of empty stomach first. This is of two types: the migratory motor complex that begins in esophagus and goes through the whole GI tract. It happens in interdigestive period and causes removal of remaining food from the stomach. There is a close relation of the basal electrical rhythm and the migratory motor complexes. When there are no MMC, the BER consists of rhythmic oscillation of the RMP between about -65 and -45 millivolt, and during the MMC the electrical oscillations are superimposed with many spikes. The second type is the hunger contraction. Mild peristaltic contractions occurs in the empty stomach, which over a period of hours increases in intensity, and this is called as the hunger contractions. MMCs are probably responsible for this contraction, and when these become extremely strong, they fuse to cause tetanic contraction lasting for 2 to 3 minutes, which can be felt and be painful to us. And this causes the sensation of hunger. Now let's move on to the second type of gastric motility, which is related to males. It is also can be discussed into 3 parts. Number 1 is the receptive relaxation and accommodation. Storage of food causes increase in vagovagal reflex, and this causes presence of food, and which happens the MMC is abolished, and this causes relaxation of the whole stomach area. This is the resting state of stomach, and it is the receptive relaxation of the stomach. As stated earlier, the food enters in the stomach, the MMCs are abolished, and this causes oral region to relax and accommodation of ingested food without any increase in intramural pressure. This is called as the receptive relaxation, and this happens through the vagovagal reflex. The second one is the mixing peristaltic waves. The presence of food in the caudal region increases the contractile activity of the stomach, and this activity is known as the mixing peristaltic wave. This helps to mix the food with the gastric acid and formation of the chyme. This happens in 3 stages. The food goes towards the pyloric portion. This is the beginning of the mixing peristaltic wave. In the second stage, the food strikes with the pylorus, and this causes backward movement of the food towards the esophagus. This stage is known as the repulsion of food. Now the third type of motility, the gastric emptying. It is a forceful contractive wave that occurs on transformation of chyme to small pieces. It is a pumping wave that is caused by the pyloric pump. So, which are the factors that regulate the gastric emptying? There are many factors. Number 1 is the fluidity of chyme. The gastric factors that includes the gastric hormones, volume of food and type of food. The duodenal factors, which are the CCK, enterogastrin and secretin. And there are also other factors which regulates it. Those are the emotions and the vagotomy. Now let us talk about the functions of stomach. The digestive function. The stomach secretes pepsin, which digests protein to primary protease, then secondary protease, and the last peptone. The renin. It acts on the casinogen and forms soluble casein to the non-soluble calcium caseinate. The gastric lipase acts on food and reforms to the glycerol and the fatty acid. The lysozyme, it causes kill of bacteria. And the HCl that activate pepsin and makes environment acidic. Second function is the mechanical function. It includes the storage, mixing and slow emptying of food, which is already discussed before. 3 is the absorptive function. The nutrients absorption happens in stomach is in very little amount. Some ethanol, water and intrinsic factors are absorbed here. Number 4 is the excretory function. Some toxin and alkaloids are secreted in the part of food from the stomach. 5 is the stimulating function. It is the release of gastrin, enterogastrin and some intrinsic factor. The reflex function. There are many reflex happens in the stomach. Those are gastrosalivary, gastroileal and gastrocolic reflex. And the antiseptic function. The HCl secreted from the stomach kills the bacteria present in the food. Now let us talk about some applied aspects of stomach. Let us talk about the gastric mucosal barrier and the peptic ulcer. The mucin, the bicarbonate and the epithelial barrier forms a hard barrier in the stomach that helps the stomach layer from from the secretion of HCl. Helicobacter pylori infections causes breakdown of this barrier. And excessive secretion of gastric acid also causes sometimes the breakdown of barrier. This is known as the Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. There are some treatments by applying antacids, H2 receptor blockers, H+, K+, ATPase blocker. We can prevent this peptic ulcer situation. Second topic is the vomiting. It is the forceful expulsion of contents from the stomach and intestine. Some toxins causes activation of higher centers that helps chemical trigger to the zone of vomiting center, and also activation of mechanoreceptors and chemoreceptor present in the stomach and duodenum causes activation of vomiting center. And the touch receptors also causes activation of the vomiting center. This causes to go through some phases. Those are the pre-ejection phase, retching phase, and last one is the ejection phase. Now the total gastrectomy. It is the total removal of stomach that hampers carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism and absorption of vitamin B12. The dumping syndrome. This includes weakness, dizziness and sweating after the meals. Now the gastric function test. Number 1 is the fractional test meal test, which previously used to be employed commonly for analysis of gastric juice. Presently, it is no more used because of its relative intensity and the inconvenience. The second one is the histamine test. It is comparatively more sensitive test than the fractional test meal test for studying the gastric acid secretion. The barium meal study. It is a radiographic evaluation of the status of mucosa and the lumen of upper intestinal tract. And the fourth one is the insulin test. This test is based on the fact that hypoglycemia produces vagal stimulation through hypothalamus, and this stimulation causes secretion of acid from the stomach. The phenogastrin test. This test is also performed to assess the gastric acid status. And the augmented histamine test. This is also performed with progressively increasing dose of histamine in a stepwise manner till a maximal secretory response is obtained. And the last one is the endoscopic examination and biopsy. Nowadays, condition of esophagus, gastric and duodenal mucosa can be directly visualized by endoscopic examination. This is more reliable than the conventional barium meal studies. The endoscopes carry a channel through which biopsy receptor forces or brush can be introduced to obtain specimen for histological and cytological examinations. So that's all for today. If you find this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're new on our channel, please subscribe it and turn on the bell icon for further future notification. And if you have any queries, you can comment below, or you can also send your queries to our Gmail account given in the description box. Next day, I will discuss about the pancreas and its role in our digestive system.